have the platform now.
Thank you very much. Somebody just asked me right now whether I have a gun. Because he heard the Economic Fighters League, and once he hears fighters, he thinks about what he thinks about his gun. That's basically why I'm here. And let me say good afternoon. My name is Hadi Yakubu, and I believe in economic freedom. That's why I'm with the Economic Fighters League. When we talk about fighting, fighting is not about wielding guns or hitting somebody, hitting a brother or a sister. No, it's not about that. The real fight is when brothers and sisters come together to fight against a system that's oppressing them. That's the real fight. You may have heard that as we talk right now, there are some 9.2 million Ghanaians, 9.2 million, that each one of them, if they combine all the income they have in a year, it's not up to 1,300 cedis. Yes. It's less than 1,300 cedis. And it's not one, it's not two, it's not three, it's not 10 people. 9.2 million. And this is not me saying it. This is Ghana Statistical Service. You may want to go and look for the Ghana Living Standard Survey, round 7. It's in there. This is a scandal of humongous proportions. And even more scandalous is the fact that it's not even a discussion. Hello, are we change makers? It's not even a discussion. Where I'm coming from, I spent more than 5 cedis to take Trotro to get here. Some people, these people that I'm talking about, they earn less than 5 Ghana cedis in a day, which is the transportation I did to come here. Less than 5 cedis a day. And over the last 5 years, this has actually increased from 8.6 to 9.2 million. That's 8.8 to 9.2. That's 400,000 more people have become poor, have fallen below the line of 1,300 Ghana cedis in the last 5 years. So if I were to wield a gun, I will wield a gun against this. My friend, against poverty. And if I am a fighter, I'm a fighter because this particular situation exists in our country. And it's not just any country. It's the country of Kwame Nkrumah, for God's sake. It's the country endowed with so much natural resources that by 2011, Ghana was the fastest growing economy in the world. And as we sit right now, I can pull for you news items on Bloomberg, on The Guardian, on New York Times, touting that Ghana would be the fastest growing in Africa in 2020, or is it in 2019? But that is a trick. That is a trick. Whenever you hear that, never believe it. What you ought to do is to go behind the figures and ask yourself, growth for who? Growth in whose interests? And you realize that the driving wheels of the growth are mainly 3 sectors: gold, oil, and cocoa. Take gold for instance. How much of the gold do we own? The rector was just talking about Newmont. Newmont is one of the few foreign companies that dominate the oil sector. 5 of them They control about 70% of total gold exports in Ghana. And you can find this information in Bernard Pente's an enterprise map of Ghana. 5 companies. And all these companies are foreign companies. None of them is Ghanaian. So if this is driving your growth, and then they say that you are the fastest growing economy in the world, you should not be laughing, because the growth is not coming into your pocket. Your economy is growing and 400,000 more people are falling below the poverty line. And you are happy? Are you serious? Even though you are doing all the things right. So we have to change ourselves as a means of changing the country. And I believe that whenever we talk about changing ourselves, we must not stop there. Because changing ourselves as an end in itself is very dangerous. It must be a means to changing the country as a whole. And this is a reason we, a group of young people came together to form the Economic Fighters League, which is a movement that is mobilizing Ghanaians, primarily young Ghanaians, to, let me scare you, to overthrow the system. To overthrow the system. Are you scared? Don't be scared. When I talk about a system, you see, I'm trying to shift our minds from NDC or MPP. Because clearly we've seen, that whether it is MPP that is in power, or it is MPP or NDC that's in power, some things have remained the same. Some things have just remained the same. The foundations of the country, the structure of the economy has not changed. It's only the players that have changed. So there is a system in place that is making sure that this state of affairs exists. So when we're talking about overthrowing the system, we mean that we must go to the foundation of the state and find out what is making our leaders unable to change anything substantially. These 9.2 million people I have mentioned, they are not all NDC people. They are not MPP people. Not all of them. Some may be. So the few people who are enjoying the wealth of the country are spread across the political parties at the top echelons. And the poor people are also spread across. So we need to train our mind to looking at the system rather than looking at various political parties. Because we have a system in place that ensures that our wealth, our collective wealth, benefits primarily foreigners. And indeed, the collective wealth only serves the luxuries of a few rather than the necessities of all. Are we ready to continue with this? Come on, change makers, I need your answers. Are we ready to continue with this? No. Are we change makers? Yes. If we are change makers, then we have to commit ourselves to changing this state of affairs. Because for us, this is even a generational battle, and I'm happy most of us here are young. The first generation who are people are called the first generation, those who were born in the late 1800s and the late 1900s to the early 20th century. They were the people who fought for independence for this country. So, for the benefit of doubt, like for the sake of argument, even if we say they didn't do anything else, they just gained independence, that alone is significant. But the middle generation, those who were born from the 1940s up to the early 1970s, when I look around, I cannot really see what they have done. And with all due respect to those who may be within that, but I can't see. This was a generation that was given education for free. Today, they can't even guarantee enough spaces in the schools for those of us who may be willing to even pay for it. That's a shame. But we cannot just say it is a shame and forget about it. We must work to change it. And that's what the Economic Fighters League is about. We are driven by love. So our revolution is a love revolution. And it begins from an intellectual point of view. Kwame Nkrumah said that behind every social revolution is an intellectual revolution. We are driven not by hate of the current system, but by love of what we should be able to build for ourselves. And that drives us to forge together and mobilize on the grounds to do what we are supposed to do for ourselves. We have no Messiah waiting to come.